Hey, my name's Richie. I know I look a little bit different. I put my best sweater on for you guys. Also dyed my hair a little bit, but I think that's not as important as the thing that I have for you today, and that is 4 must-known things that you need to know about the new player settings/devices that are in the game now. And with that being said, let's jump right into it. All right, starting with number 1, we have the player reference device and a cool security system that you now can create with this device. It can be from super easy to super advanced, and I'm going to show you guys obviously how to create a super easy one and then how you can make it super hard. So, all right, so you can see that we have these 2 scanning pads over here, and then if I step on the first one here, I'm getting scanned by this yellowish scanning device here, and it says, yeah, Richie Tunes, welcome Richie Tunes. It opens the door for us. And that is something that you can create in just like 5 minutes or so, even shorter than that. So let's go into it. All right, so as already said, this is super easy and you only need 4 devices for this. Actually, you only need 3, but you need to duplicate one of them. So starting off first by the most important part here, and that is the capture area actually. And in the capture area, all you have to do is basically change just a few settings. Obviously, you can change the color accent. That is obviously the color of the scanning thing. Then the radius obviously depends on you as well and how big you want to make it. One thing which is very important is the can be captured by team. You need to set that to all, so otherwise, not everybody can, kind of create the zone, and it's kind of buggy then. So try to set it to all at all times. Next one is control time, and this is important obviously on how long the player stands in this device and how long the device takes to recognize the player. Next one, enable during phase, set to no, because we don't want to have any like visible indicators that there is like a scanning device down there. We only want to activate it if a player steps on it. Next one, enable when receiving on channel, depending on you, channel 1 for me, and when control change, transmit on channel 2. So what will channel 2 do? Channel 2 will send a signal to the player reference device, which we're going to use this one over here, and then activate it and then show the player. So all it does is basically shows the player. It is the easy version as already said. We also need a different device which we can stand on. This will basically do nothing. It's just like a prop, you can say. So it just looks cool. And we also need a trigger device. And this trigger device is basically just there to kind of start the whole process. The cool thing about the trigger device and why we're using it is because you can actually set in teams in here. So only specific teams can go on it, or specific classes can go on it. And then in the end, all you have to do is place them correctly. So I started off by placing down the device like this. So it basically is in the ground. Then I place the player spawn device, which we use as a prop here, or the player reference device actually. We're gonna place the trigger on top of it so everything gets activated correctly. And then just place this one, which is like kind of showing our player over here, with the channels in, just in front of it. And if you step on it, everything works super fine. And then after that, you can put it wherever you want and then link it to even more devices. So for example, an easy version would be link it to a locked device, which can open and lock doors. And all you have to do is basically put a channel 2 in here. You can also like have a custom name greeting. So as you saw earlier, that it says like welcome Richie Tunes. So that is obviously something that is very cool because this device basically always shows, if you set the show player details to something like below player, mid player, or above player, it always shows the player name. So you can like have some super custom automated greetings for your players. Coming to number 2, we have a very overlooked device, I think, and that is the player spawn pad, or as I like to call it, the cooler Daniel. Because obviously the not so cool Daniel is the player spawn plate now, which was this horrible device which took forever. If you want to have multiple spawns, you had to customize each individual. You only could place it on like tiles, and it was super annoying to work with. But now finally we have this new device which you can place everywhere, and you can do so much cool stuff with this. One cool thing which a lot of people probably didn't notice it, that you can spawn players in the sky. And it really depends on where you place it in the sky, on where and how the player spawns. So for example, you can see this device is very high in the sky right now. And if I start the game, you can see that I'm going to fly down like I would be on a battle bus, which is obviously something that is super cool. But if you place the device a little bit lower to the ground, as we're going to show in a second, for example, something like this, you can see this is obviously a lot lower than the one before. And if we're now going to start the game, you can see that I'm just going to fall down. Like I don't fly down, I don't have the glider out. I'm just going to fall down, which I think is something that is super important to know, especially if you want to create something like Zone Wars where you want to have the players fly in or something, or if you want to do a dropper or something where you just want the player to fall down. This is very important to know and something that is super overlooked. Coming into number 3, and I know you probably wondered the whole video what this is about and why there's some big heli spawn pets here. And this is actually a setting which just got added, which I think same thing here is super overlooked. I know everybody is crazy about the new player reference device, but we got a new setting which actually allows us to change the range of the pickaxe. So depending on what you set this to, the pickaxe will have a different range. So for example, you have large, medium, and obviously the default one. So one thing which is very important, it only works in play mode. And as you can see, like I can pickaxe this wall over there, even though I'm not even close to this wall, right? So you obviously don't get the multiplier, whatever. But you can now change these different settings. And I think for the large range, it's like about 3 tiles away. And for the medium one, it's like 1.5 tiles away. But something that you can now create with this, which is something super cool, which I'm going to show you. With this setting, you can actually start creating games from different viewpoints. So obviously we are now in this technically first person game mode, but we can now create stuff where we can like look up or like look down from the sky and still interact with the playing field. So you can see that I can punch this ball here and I can punch these walls down, which is something that is super overlooked. Like you can create so many cool stuff from different angles now just because you can pickaxe swing things from very far away. So that means you can have like different viewpoints where you can pickaxe swing stuff. You can like have triggers here to activate. You can have your player basically locked down so they only look down, which I think is super cool to know. And I think this is something that is super overlooked. I know a lot of people only use the setting for like the Among Us maps because obviously like it's mainly made for the Among Us maps. But this is obviously something that is very doable now and something that is very overlooked. And if you have the creativity to create a game with this and come up with something very cool and unique, this will be something that is super unique and nobody's seen before. Last but not least, we have number 4, and that is something very cool that you can do with the no collision setting. If you don't know, there's a new setting which you can find under game here. And if you scroll all the way down, there is a setting which is called player collision. Obviously, what this would do is, players are not colliding with each other. So if you run into each other, then you just walk through each other. There's like no collision. You will not bump the player, whatever. But one thing which is very important, if you set that to off, that it also affects sentries. So we started the game here and you can see the sentries spawned in. And we can actually just walk through the sentries. You guys probably think, why is this useful in any shape or form? One thing where this is actually very useful in is in aim scenarios or in aiming maps. So for example, you want to have an aim map where a target flies at you. You want to kind of react to it. And obviously it's super annoying if this bot is going to fly against you and kind of like bounce off you and then stands in the map and, doesn't do anything there. So with this setting, obviously the bot flies right through you. And if you put like something like a damage volume behind you, basically the bot flies directly through you and can fly into the damage volume and then can respawn. And then you can, kind of make your aim scenario, which I think is obviously a very unique scenario. And obviously a lot of you guys probably not going to make this. But if you want to do something like this, or if you came up with something super special where this works actually outside of an aiming scenario, let me know. But I think this is a good thing to know. And maybe in the future, if these maybe can actually work, this can be something super interesting. And yeah. With that being said, don't kill me, please. Oh. And yeah, with that being said, hopefully I could, do something for everyone here. I try to keep it as wide as possible so everybody has something. The people that want to create aim maps, the people that want to create mystic murder maps or whatever and have some different mechanics, or the people that just want to create and learn something about Fortnite Creative. So let me know how many of these you already knew. Let me know if this was helpful at all. And I'll see you guys back in the next video or stream. And I'll see you guys. Bye.